Hey, look at that. It's sort of like the same setting that I was in like last video. But what's going on, guys? Andrew here, and today we're going to take a look at the Canon T3i. Real quick before we get into the video, only less than 1% of you guys are subscribed. If you like what you see here, remember to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the video. The Canon T3i was the camera that I've been using for the past about, I want to say, 5 or so years. Every video beforehand was either filmed on my phone or on the T3i. Okay, now that the sawing noises are stopped, I know the GPU video, the last one that I just did, that was on this camera, the M50. So, and I'll have another video of doing comparison between the T3i and the M50 later on down the road, and knowing more and more about this camera specifically. But let's talk about. A side note, sorry if I sound a little sick. I am a little sick. Okay, so let's take it back to 2011. You know, Google Nexus came out with their phone, the MacBook Air came out, the iPhone 4S was out, and oh wow, the 3DS came out. That did not seem like 2011. That seemed like 2015, probably at the very, very least. 2011, DSLRs have not been as popular for video as what they are nowadays. And then DSLRs just started to become capable of being more than just taking pictures. So the T3i came out in February of 2011, and it came with full HD video and amazing picture qualities. Now, if you don't know what full HD is just 1080p, like 1920 by 1080. The T3i, it supported 1080p at 30 FPS, 720p at 30 and 60 FPS, and then I don't know why you would go below 720p. Hey buddy. And if you don't know, this camera is doing 1080p at 60 FPS, and for the longest time when I was using it, I was using the 1080p because I wanted to use 60 FPS. I really liked how it worked, how it looked, especially like in real life, like when you're doing these talking head videos, the 60 FPS, like, it's just like a whole different dynamic. But the problem with that is that at the time, YouTube couldn't handle more than 720p, so there was no point to record in 1080p. With that, it didn't even support 60 FPS playback either. There was kind of a struggle to getting that most quality when the video platform wasn't really up to the same par. I mean, as you can see, times have changed. YouTube now supports like 4K, maybe I think sometimes 8K video playback. Just video playback, 8K. That's amazing. And you can upload about 8K video. I assume. I'm not quite sure. I am not gonna upload 8K footage anytime soon. But yeah, YouTube was a lot different, and cameras were a lot different, and most people were still using video recorders, and you can still use a video recorder to this day. Kind of not the trend per se. DSLRs are the trend, especially with Casey Neistat making them really popular amongst the vloggers and the daily, like, day in the life people. Enough about the video technical capabilities of the T3i, but what about pictures? What about taking stills? Like, people love to still take stills. Haha. What about people still loving to take stills of stills? The only downside that I see about, you know, shooting pictures is that apart from the automatic setting, some of the automatic focusing and the automatic, like, white balancing and ISO is kind of slow. They're more along the lines of you still have to kind of adjust settings to make sure it's just right. And if you're taking pictures of like sports or something that's fast moving, the sensor on it is not fast enough for it, or the shutter speed, I should say, for what the shutter speed can do. It's not perfect for sports or anything like really fast moving. That doesn't mean that the pictures are not that quality. The pictures are actually really high quality, especially when you get the lighting and everything just right. Ooh, Tesla hit a high today, or this week. For videos, obviously the camera wasn't that that quite bad. The camera was actually like the DSLR camera for video at the time it was released. In 2020, maybe not, unless you're really like scrambling for cash and you can get it for a really good deal on eBay. I wouldn't suggest using the Canon T3i for video making as of 2020. I mean, there's other more budget oriented video cameras out today that are specifically probably around the price range, because you can get the Canon T3i for about $300 as of right now, especially like on Canon's website. And if you think about it though, the Canon T3i released with the price tag of about $800. That is actually more expensive than this M50 right now. You know, with inflation and everything, kind of makes it difficult. But at the time that the T3i was released, it was costed more than when the M50 came out, and the M50 came out way later than the T3i. And I think the M50 is getting to the point to where it's being discontinued, because I know the T3i is discontinued as of right now, but you can still buy it used for about $300, and I would even suggest if you can buy it for under $150, that is a pretty good deal. But if you have about $700 or $800 to spend, I would rather for you to pick the M50, just because from a current standpoint of using the M50, I really recommend it above the T3i, especially because in video for the T3i, the autofocus is not that much auto. You still have to hold the shutter button down, and it takes a little bit, and it's really noisy. It'll take about maybe 30 seconds for it to autofocus, and that's if it's actually like getting it in focus. Sometimes it would fail. Most of the time it would fail. For me, in my experience, one of the biggest downsides to getting the T3i in 2020, then as of right now, is the CMOS sensor and the dual pixel autofocusing that the newer Canon cameras have, especially for video, because they're made, most of Canon cameras nowadays, even other DSLRs were made with better video features, because videos have become more prevalent, you know, as time progressed, especially with YouTube being like the second biggest world search engine. That is my review. I know it's short and sweet. I am feeling a little bit sick, so I want to get this video out there, and I still want to give you guys good, valuable content so that you wouldn't be left stranded without a video like you have in the past. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button.